Welcome to episode 8 of the Total Bro Sports Podcast. Hello all, welcome to the Total Bro Sports Podcast. I'm Alex here with
Jack,
Ben,
and Kai.
Great, why don't we start with the news? Jack?
Okay, big on the news today. Alvin Kamara tied an NFL record with 6 rushing touchdowns against the Vikings on Christmas Day. Dwayne Haskins gets cut from Washington. According to the head coach, Ron Rivera, this afternoon I met with Dwayne Haskins and informed him that we will be releasing him. Rivera said in the statement, I told him that I believe it benefits both parties and that we gotta separate ways. We want to thank Dwayne for his contributions these last 2 seasons and wish him well moving forward. And the final one, the Jags clinched the number 1 overall pick, probably getting Trevor Lawrence.
All right, next we have a scoregami alert.
So for the viewers that don't know what scoregami is the art of tracking every single NFL score that has ever happened. So for example, this week we have 2 instances of scoregami. The Saints beat the Vikings 52-33, and the Dolphins beat the Raiders 26-25, meaning that this is the first time that a score of 52-33 and 26-25 has ever happened in the NFL's 100-year-plus history.
Awesome. Next, we're going to have a quick review of the playoffs. Ben?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yeah, so in the NFC, the Bucks clinched and the Seahawks clinched the NFC West. The Packers clinched the division as well and also clinched the number 1 seed. The Bears now control their own destiny as a result of the Cardinals' loss to the Niners. And the football team still holds first place in the NFC East. In the AFC, the Chiefs clinched the number 1 seed and the division. The Steelers clinched the AFC North. Browns, Ravens, and Colts are all fighting for the last spot.
Great. Next, we'll go to our next segment, 5-Minute Fire. Vikings at Saints, Christmas football. Despite throwing for 2 interceptions, Drew Brees and co. breezed through the Vikings. Mike Zimmer's defense looked like they were better suited for crewing a ship in 793 AD than playing football. Instead of the Vikings' offense, Alvin Kamara assumed the role of the Viking Raider, pillaging the Minnesota defense for 155 yards and an NFL record-tying 6 touchdowns. It really could have been 7 if Sean Payton cared about records. Saints blow out the Vikings 52-33.
Bucks at Lions, Saturday football. There's a reason why the NFL doesn't broadcast football on Saturdays, and that's because it's atrocious. Speaking of atrocity, the Lions' offense and defense were on full display Saturday. With Matthew Stafford only playing for 1 series, Chase Daniel stepped in and really could not do much of anything, throwing a measly 86 yards. Captain Brady and the Bucks tamed the Lions like they were in the whole. I messed up. In the whole of the pirate ship. The day after Christmas, Brady gave the Lions defense a gift, and they kept on giving touchdowns. 4 of them. Braves and the Bucks destroy the Lions 47-7.
I was about to cancel Saturday football for myself until I found this, a gift of a game hidden behind a family of squirrels and an Etna under my tree. Eliminated from playoff contention with nothing to play for. The 49ers showed up demonstrating to the world that the dress that you see on Reddit is red, white, and gold, destroying their tank like a cardinal birdhouse. And for the injured Nick Mullins, bearded C.J. Beathard played admirably, showing the quarterback mirage, throwing for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. However, the golden spoils of this to Robert Sala's defense. They shut down Kyler Murray like a mousetrap and a cat. Murray threw 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. 49ers spoiled the Cardinals 20-12.
Dolphins at Raiders. Like a fine wine, the Saturday football games got better as the day went on, culminating in this beauty. Facing playoff elimination, the Raiders battled it out with the Dolphins in this ocean of a game. However, the game became unreal in the final 4 minutes. After Nelson Aguilar burned the Miami defense for an 85-yard touchdown, Brian Flores decided to invent a new football concept, the relief quarterback. Flores inserted Ryan Fitzmagic into the lineup, and predictably, he played lights out, immediately leading a 75-yard touchdown drive in 42 seconds. John Gruden's Raiders responded by getting to the goal line, but declining to score a touchdown, which would have speeded possession to the Magic-infused Dolphins. After a Raiders field goal with 19 seconds left in the game, Fitzmagic tossed the best no-look pass of the year to a wide-open Matt Hollins. During the play, the Raiders defense attempted to rip Fitzmagic's head off, which resulted in an additional 15-yard penalty, getting the Dolphins into field goal range, and Jason Sanders nailed the 44-yard field goal. The Dolphins edged out the Raiders 26-25.
Falcons at Chiefs. Another game, another choke job from these Falcons. Despite leading the Chiefs 14-10 in the fourth quarter, the Falcons sealed their fate on the Chiefs' final drive. On what appeared to be a game-ending interception, the Falcons' defense pulled a Dez Bryant and dropped the ball, literally and figuratively, when they hit the ground. With the gift from God of a drop, Patrick Mahomes responded by throwing a touchdown pass on the very next play. On the ensuing drive, the Youngway onside kick coup missed the game-tying field goal. Chiefs narrowly eked it out 17-14.
Browns at Jets. Another week, another game added to the Jets' win streak. That's right, the Jets. Team that had 0 wins through their first 13 games finally has a two-game win streak. Through a combination of capable offense and ferocious defense, the Jets defeated the Browns. New York limited the 1-2 punch of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb to a paltry 45 yards on the ground. As for Baker, he cooked up a bland offensive performance with 285 yards through the air, but no touchdowns. On 4th and 1, with the game on the line, Baker Mayfield fumbled a QB sneak. Jets upset the Browns 23-16.
Colts at Steelers. Pittsburgh are on a 3-game slide after being embarrassed by a team with no name. In this latest matchup, Big Ben and company are played to win or were playing a win-and-in scenario. Early on, the game was all Colts. Philip Ohio Rivers captained the scheming Colts down the Ohio River, knocking Pittsburgh barges out of their way. However, in the second half, the Steelers decided to stop dancing and dropping balls and actually decided to play with them. Juju tangoed all the way through the defense, posting 96 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Big Ben showed why Stormy made a mistake in not choosing him, by leading the Steelers to a come-from-behind victory. Steelers win 28-24.
Bears at Jaguars. Jaguars having a terrible embarrassment of a year that has them losing 13 games straight. Minshew Mania watches from the bench as Mike Glennon shows the Bears what they missed, and they didn't miss much. Turned out twice, turnover twice, and the other hand, Mitch Trubisky pulled off another Ryan Fitzmagic move, attempting another land to try to get contact. And despite an ugly interception from Trubisky, the Bears absolutely mauled these K's Jaguars 41-17, sending Marone and Fredo Gruden back to the zoo. Giants at Ravens. In the game where they could have significantly improved their playoff chances, the Giants played like Smurfs against the reigning MVP Gargamel Lamar Jackson. Torched the Giants defense 183 yards and 2 touchdowns with 80 yards on the ground, scoring a date with Smurfette. Like Papa Daniel Jones' hamstring, the Ravens defense was tight, limiting the Giants to 269 yards of total offense late in the game. The Giants started to mobilize the Smurfs troops, but it ultimately proved to be too little too late. Wendy Testerberger and the Ravens shut down the insurrection. Ravens put themselves 1 game closer to the postseason. They win 27-13 over the Giants.
Bengals at Texans. Lacking number 1 overall pick Joe Burrow, Brandon Allen led the bunch, scraping and tearing what was left of the Texans defense to shreds. The Watson-led Texans remain in full tank mode. Allen put the defense on a southern grill, burning them for 371 yards and 2 TDs. Despite the Texans taking a lead at the beginning of the fourth, they realize they have to lose so that they can preserve their tank, letting Brandon Allen throw a TD to win the game. Bengals claw their way to victory 37-31.
Broncos at Chargers. Hello?
I have just one question. Are you ready Ready for what?
When former draft pick Drew Ivola versus Justin Herminator in the Mile High 2 first slam. Subscribe to TotalBroSports for $0.99.
Hello?
And goodbye to anyone standing in Justin Herminator's way. Justin Herminator and Drew Ivola in a steel cage tank match. Justin Herminator destroyed Drew Ivola and Broncos defense. Drew locked up another losing season. Broncos lose
19-16.
Carolina, Washington. With a chance to win the division, a chance at redemption, and a chance at drowning some ugly headlines, Dwayne Football and the football team played like garbage. Haskins done messed up, throwing for 154 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 picks. It got so bad that Rivera yanked the plug on the former first-round pick and inserted Taylor Heineke, a guy who was taking online college classes 3 weeks ago. Teddy Bridgewater somewhat rebounded from last week, throwing for 197 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, and proceeded to walk out in the second half. Panthers embarrassed the team with no name, 20-13.
Despite leading 14-3 in the first quarter, the Philly defense started practicing its social distancing around the Dallas offense. Jalen Hurts hurt this Philly offense so badly in the second half, making poor reads and forcing throws. The Red Rifle continued his audition for another team and managed to play well, throwing for 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Cowboys win.
Rams at Seahawks. In a battle for the NFC West, the Seahawks looked for revenge. In what was a game where offense was at a minimum, the Seahawks flew to victory. Unfortunately for the Rams, Goff suffered a thumb injury, which will keep him out next week. The Seahawks win the NFC West 2019 over the Rams.
Titans at Packers. Devontae Adams looks like he's dethroned King Henry with 3 touchdowns, and Ryan Tannehill played terribly, tossing 2 picks and warming his butt on the bench for garbage time. Packers obliterate the Titans 40-14. Bills at Patriots. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bill, and the Bills silence the Patriots as if they were a bunch of lambs. Stephon Diggs torched the New England secondary, making some tasty chomps out of them for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. Cam Isaac Newton forgot the physics of throwing a football and went to the bench as Jarrett Clarice Stidham was unable to mop up the bloodshed as the Bills swept the Patriots for the first time in 20 years. Bills destroyed the Patriots 38-9.
And thus concludes 5-Minute Fire.
Well, let's get down to the main event.
Dwayne Football.
Yes, I'll start out with Dwayne Football. Let's hear the takes from the panel.
Okay. What I personally believe from Dwayne Football is that he's immature, he's unfit to be a starter. His throws are terrible, he can't read defenses, and he's not well liked. He boasts about his stats when he does well, even when they lose. He just isn't mature enough. His coach doesn't like him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was about time that he was released. I mean, I kind of feel bad for him because he had a lot of potential coming in. Like, at Ohio State in his last season, he threw 50 touchdowns, which is tied for 5th in NCAA history. And he threw for the 22nd most yards in NCAA history in a season. So, like, I thought he was going to be way better than he was. But obviously his maturity and, I don't think he's been putting too much effort into football and to trying to get better since he's been in the league.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's surprising that – no, not very surprising. Like, I saw him last year. He wasn't really good. This year it was more the same. It was only a matter of time before he was out of Washington. And I think in the past 20 years or so, at least, he is the first he's the first-round QB in a while to be released, not even after year 2.
Yeah, that's true. For the listeners that don't know, that you could make a case for Josh Rosen, but he was actually traded to the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's so true.
But I think along the lines of Dwayne Haskins, you just really lacked maturity. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that just because you have a cannon, I'm actually going to borrow this analysis from The Ringer, just because you have a cannon doesn't mean that you can make the accurate throws. And yeah, Dwayne Haskins had a great arm, but at the same time, you kept seeing him routinely miss open receivers, throw passes behind people, like one hop them. It was just atrocious play for him.
Yeah. He would throw him way behind you, throw it too high, and you'd always throw it into double coverage. It doesn't matter how great your arm is when you're throwing into double coverage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
and people said he could read defenses, but I'm not sure he's even
He couldn't read it if they
reads.
showed.
No, if you look at the fourth down play, which ultimately got him benched, he had a wide open receiver right in his view, and he just decided to run it, even though he's not that fast.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, it's like I was watching it and it was like, or even trying. That was my thought process during that.
Yo,
You know,
no,
Yeah.
I agree with you, because also you have to look at his body language on the sideline. Like normally a leader, this was a guy who was formerly a captain before he got stripped of that because of the whole strip club incident. I guess no pun intended there. But
Yeah,
normally he's like, as a leader, you would be on the sidelines trying to hype up your offense and get the team going, but he just kind of sits there with his hands in his lap, not really doing anything.
makes sense.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, he was drafted by Snyder. We all know Snyder's the anti-Midas of the NFL.
He's the anti-Midas touch.
And I think he's just another fatality in the curse of Tippecanoe, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
No, could you explain that?
Oh, okay. So the curse of Tippecanoe states that every 20 years, starting in 1840, the leader of the United States is destined to die. So that happened with William Henry Harrison, who was elected in 1840. Lincoln 20 years later. Garfield 20 years later. McKinley 20 years later, and then Warren Harding, although he died of natural causes, and then Franklin Roosevelt, although he didn't die until about 45, and then
Yeah.
Kennedy, and then Ronald Reagan got shot, and then George Bush had a shoe thrown at him, and now 2020 is Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so what do you guys think is next for the quarterback? Is he ever going to get a shot?
I don't think so.
I mean,
Maybe.
I feel like he really hasn't proven enough in the league yet. But, there's always the XFL in 2022. That's perfect league for Dwayne Haskins, honestly.
Yeah.
How do you say
He
that?
can go to CFL.
Yeah, or the CFL.
Yeah, Johnny Football went to the CFL.
Yeah, not for long. He was, I don't know. I mean, Haskins, he definitely has the talent. It's just the work ethic, and he just doesn't really want to get better, I feel like. I
Yeah, he
mean, he has
doesn't.
a lot of talent, and, yeah, just watching him play, his footwork's just not good. He's overthrowing guys. He's really not making the best decisions.
Yeah, and he went unclaimed on waivers too. But apparently, I think he might get another chance in somewhere else if there's
I mean,
any
yeah.
team that's desperate for a quarterback.
He's young,
Yeah.
so there's he wasn't drafted that long ago. People, it was only last year. He has a lot of time, and if he shows, a lot of improvement and his maturity and stuff off the field, then he certainly might get a chance.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, I
But,
think
sorry.
as far as the chances of him landing on another team, the problem is that he butted heads with Ron Rivera and seems to carry the label of being a off-the-field distraction. And as we've seen with Antonio Brown and other people with that moniker, it's really hard to become employed. But at least with Antonio Brown, he had clear skill. With Haskins, we don't even know if he can win more than a game in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should consider himself lucky though. At least his knee didn't get destroyed.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that was interesting because RG3 actually wished him well on Twitter in the immediate wake of the decision.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah. No, and you're right, Kai, because the reason that Haskins was drafted, apparently, and this is according to ESPN, because Daniel Snyder went into the draft room and then demanded that Haskins would be their pick, even though the football people in the Washington football team organization did not want him.
Yeah. What do you think they were going for?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I don't know. On the one hand, it's like he
I don't
fell
think
all the
they're
way
going
to
for Sweat.
yeah. He fell all the way to 15th though.
Yeah, I did.
I guess I don't know. I guess Dan Snyder wanted to show I don't know, wanted to like make him seem like a steal.
Well, actually, Montez Sweat was drafted in the first round. I think they were zeroing in on him for number 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think is next for the Washington football team as far as the quarterback position? Because it's not like they have a real clear future right now. Alex Smith is, he's not healthy at the moment, and he's not the future as well. And we're going into an offseason with a fair amount of free agent quarterbacks. Where do you think? Who do you think target?
I personally believe they might snag Carson Wentz, maybe Dak Prescott. I'd be good with them.
Oh, you think they're gonna chase after the rival quarterbacks?
Yeah, possibly. I think that might be a team to snag, a guy to snag.
Does Washington have a lot of cap space? Because they would have to dump a lot of money into Dak if any team's gonna have to pay a ton for.
Yeah. Dak wants out of Dallas if he doesn't get paid $40 million.
Yeah, no, I don't know if he'll come back. Honestly,
I don't think so.
they seemed reluctant to pay him in the first place, anyways.
Yeah, if he wants a lot of money, and he probably will walk away if he doesn't get that money. He might go to the Patriots, possibly.
Ben, to answer your question, according to Rigo's Rags, Washington has $56 million in cap space for 2021.
Oh, that's a lot.
56 million.
Yeah, $56 million.
You know, this is my. Oh, is anyone gonna say something?
No, that
Oh, go ahead, Guy.
Okay, so like I think the in my opinion, I think the what to do for Washington is they need to maybe they could like draft a quarterback in the next year or two.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
You do? I was thinking Alex Smith could be he's still like he may have had that injury. I think he still might have a year or two left.
Yeah, he's got like
in him.
one more year on his contract.
Oh, just one more year?
Yeah, but it's 2009. Actually, he has 2 more years.
Yeah, he wouldn't be the worst guy to have as a backup to mentor a young quarterback that can come in because Alex Smith was he's a very experienced guy. He was
he's very good.
overall. I mean, he's had a lot of experience.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah, no, I definitely see him as if Washington draft a quarterback in this year's draft or the next one, I do see him as being a positive mentor as a backup, even if he can't really play that much anymore, just to have as a presence there.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think he would actually be a great quarterbacks coach because looking at his viability for the 2021 season, we can see that those 17 surgeries on his leg definitely have had an effect. Like, even though he was able to play for the first couple of games he was in, it looks like there's some sort of muscle issue back there, and probably because he can't lift his foot up, so that might be causing tightness in his calf. So I think definitely next year, it's going to be difficult for him to take.
I think on Sunday night, what they should do is put him in for the first snap. So just by the analytics, so if they win, it will go to him.
Interesting take because when he was in against the 49ers, they won even though.
Yeah, Ron Rivera just needs to look at that. Brian Flores would have done that.
I don't know. I don't want to jump on any bandwagons, but I feel somewhat confident in this Taylor Heineke guy.
No, he's a bum.
Yeah, that was going to be my question here. Do you guys think Taylor Heineke is enough to at least get past the Eagles and into the playoffs?
No, he's a bum.
you gotta provide some evidence for this, okay?
The
He
Eagles
barely
honestly,
plays. He's never won a game.
I don't know, but you're also talking about the Eagles here who haven't. I mean, they just lost to Dallas. It's not like Dallas is a great QB either. I mean, it's like this team. Neither team has been really. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I trust Washington and
Oh yeah,
Barry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas. Those guys can
but
step up with
but
Heineken.
the Eagles beat the Cowboys in November when the Cowboys had Ben DiNucci. So I don't really think that was that impressive of a win.
Yeah, and then they lost more recently last week to Dallas.
Yeah, that's when they played much better. And
And
their
then remember,
defense, the Eagles' defense was terrible.
yeah, and then remember week 1 as well,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, they're just
the
really banged up. They're just entire team.
yeah. I saw Taylor Heineke come in the fourth quarter, and immediately he just started going passing and actually completing the pass and actually acting like a real quarterback.
Yeah.
I saw him. He got it right into the flow of things, hitting guys in the chest, in front of them, where the passes should go. He looked like an actual NFL quarterback. And I think the thing with Haskins was that he was really an offensive liability. Like coaches were worried about whether he would turn it over. That's why you had a lot of those short throws. But with Heineke, he's not a liability, knocking on wood. But
Well, he's
it
never
doesn't
going to be on the
seem that
team next year.
Yeah, speaking of that game, I think it was. I think it seemed like the plan going into it was just having Haskins having them run the ball a lot more than usual because Antonio Gibson was back, and then
Yeah.
as it was the second half, and as the announcers were talking about that, I could see Dwayne Haskins just throwing it every single play.
Yeah.
That really confused me there.
No, it was really odd because they had success running the ball early. Like they were getting holes and guys were getting reasonable gains.
Yeah.
The problem is that the offensive coordinator for Washington is quite pedestrian, and his only qualification was that he's the son of Norv Turner.
Exactly. Wait, Alex, you
Nepotism
want
football league at work here.
Alex, you want to switch it up and go to the playoffs now?
Yeah, we can talk about the playoffs.
So let's see about what do you think about the playoffs.
I think out of the teams right now that are not in it, I think there's like a lock definitely, or not definitely, but possibly can be the Titans.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. But I think it's going to be possibly a Packers-Chiefs Super Bowl.
Ooh, going with
Packers,
the number one
Chiefs.
teams. Yeah, I mean it's definitely possible. I mean the Saints have been looking really good this year as well. The even the Seahawks. I mean their defense I don't think is good enough to win a championship, but
No,
they have a
the
great.
Legion of Boom definitely could, but this defense is not as good.
You guys, they have to go through
So,
the Chiefs most
the
likely,
Bills are cursed.
or Steelers.
Nah.
I don't know the Steelers. They're getting a lot of hate now, but they're still a very talented team. I know, with all the Juju stuff, and they've lost 3, but they still have a lot of potential.
Why was Juju doing that?
I don't know. It's
No,
just
I don't think the Steelers are gonna actually make it far into the playoffs, especially if they have to play a real team and not either a mediocre one or a battered up team
right
for their
now it's
first game.
like they would play probably like the Dolphins, Ravens, or Browns at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers' next game would give us a good picture of how they would do in the playoffs because they're playing the Browns.
Well, it depends if they bench a bunch of people because they clinched. So
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think the thing with the playoffs is everyone's hyping this Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl. But the problem with the Packers is they just don't seem to go – they just can't seem to go all the way in the playoffs. Like we saw with last season, they were against the 49ers, and they just got demolished.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe their defense has improved. You've had some solid play from Jair Alexander and the secondary. Like they've looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
also, they're also the number 1 seed, and they get a bye. So, I mean, that definitely getting an extra week off can help playing one less game. Because then they only have to win one to get to the NFC Championship. So, I definitely think they'll make it to the NFC Championship. But the Saints possibly could beat them. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is just so good and doesn't turn the ball over ever. One of the best deep ball passers in the league.
Yeah.
Moving over to the wild card, it's basically a battle between the Rams, Bears, and Cardinals. Which one of them do you guys think is gonna miss out?
Well, I think the Bears might lose, but I do think they're going to make the playoffs because I think the Rams are going to beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, I would have to say the Bears because they also I think they face the Packers.
Yeah, and the Rams are a good team.
They are a good team.
I think
but they fell to the Jets, and they've shown that. I mean, despite being a good team, you still can lose. And the Cardinals are also a very good team. And I don't know. I mean, Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins can maybe pull something out of a hat for them. I mean, you never know though. The Rams have a great defense, anyways.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals are gonna miss it because all the Bears need is actually a Cardinals loss. That's all.
Yeah, all they need is a Cardinals loss, but they must win just because.
Possibility. And then in the NFC East, that's still not set in stone yet either.
No, all Washington needs to do is win, or the Giants and Cowboys, the winner of that needs Washington to lose.
Yeah.
The Eagles have nothing to play for. They can screw around.
I don't know. I usually when teams are out of it, they don't just screw around. Like I feel like they're still gonna play, try to beat their.
Yeah, they do.
No,
Yeah,
especially
true. Yeah, especially if they can play spoiler and Eagles.
Yeah, there's plenty of times.
Eagles can do that.
There's plenty of times where teams like I've seen plenty of examples of teams that they play harder because they know that they're gonna knock this team out of the playoffs. Like because they need some extra motivation now that they're not, playing for themselves.
But winning will hurt their draft position.
Teams aren't thinking about that. Like
Players aren't like the Jets. The Jets are a prime example. Like the players are thrilled that they won. Like Frank Gore is thrilled. Everyone on the sideline was going crazy. But
I think Frank Gore is going to retire after this year.
No, these are competitive guys. They're not thinking about the front office draft picks. Like if you're a competitive athlete in the most competitive sports league in the U.S., you want to win.
And they're getting paid to play their hearts out. They're not getting paid to, throw games. Like
I would refer you to J.J. Watt's post-game conference.
What did he say?
Yeah.
He basically said that guys should not be in the locker room and should not be on the field if they're not willing to put in the work to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's.
It's not like the players of the Jets players actually trust the process here.
Yeah. Like Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember playing in games, like, even in, like, the rec league, just playing. And, like, even if the team was bad, I would just always – even if we were down, like, 20, I'd still want to play and not mess around. So I can't even imagine what it's like for these guys, like, to, get paid to do this. They're on TV. And also some guys, like, even if they're not playing for a playoff spot, they're still playing for their jobs. And, like, free agents. Like, even, like, Sam Darnold, like, even if he's not a Jet next year, he still has been helping his draft stock lately and his trade value. Like,
Yeah,
like they're still playing.
Makes sense.
They're making themselves look better as well.
I think as far as playing spoiler, I would point you all to the 2017 or is it
Bengals.
2016 or 2017.
Oh yeah, I remember the Bengals.
Giants. No, it was the Giants. Because the Giants were already in the playoffs, and all Washington had to do, or it was the Kirk Cousins-led Washington football team at the
No,
time.
I mean, no. The better example is the one with the Bengals and Ravens.
I know, but this was also a thing where the Giants could just rest their starters and let Washington into the playoffs, but they didn't. Like, they played hard and ultimately won 19-10 over the football team.
Or the Redskins.
Yeah, the Redskins.
What about the Ravens?
Known
The
as
Ravens.
Redskins.
The Ravens did that. The Bengals did that to the Ravens in 2017. You don't remember that?
Well, now I do.
Like, remember when Andy Dalton threw it and it was a touchdown and it spoiled the Ravens' chances of the playoffs and
I
the
do
Bills
remember
got
that.
in?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
the Bills
remember
fans
that.
were like sending them stuff, like sending the Bengals stuff, and they were like praising Andy Dalton because, I mean, that was what they needed. They just needed a loss, and Andy Dalton gave it to them.
Yeah, but I think the point is that guys are not thinking about the draft stock when they're playing. They're going to play hard, and with the Washington football team versus the Philadelphia Eagles, you should expect a tough, competitive game.
Both teams are going to play like they're trying to win.
And it's also Jalen Hurts is trying to keep his job. I mean, it's not like anything set in stone there in Philly. And, like, you know, if Jalen Hurts plays really well, then that might just be it for Wentz in Philadelphia. But, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it might just be it. And it ultimately, yeah, exactly. He should just be playing well for his own stock.
Yeah.
Should be a competitive game.
Thank you for listening to the Total Bros Sports Podcast.